Hey, this is Noah with the Creative Startup. Today we are talking about podcasting as an artist. Is it a budding opportunity, a great way for you to connect with your audience, or is it a waste of time? Let's talk about that today. So, as you may know, I'm pretty interested in podcasting. I think that it might be the next big opportunity for artists to really connect with their audiences. It's become strikingly apparent that for artists in today's day and age where everyone has attention deficit and where it's hard for us to focus, it's hard for us to concentrate on anything, that deep, true fan engagement is one of the most valuable currencies in the market today. If you can build a relationship with your fans, they're your fans for life, right? As opposed to seeing them on social media or them knowing your art a little bit. A recent article from Forbes said this, and I quote, "While a vast social following can be a valuable tool, only legitimate and loyal followers that engage with the content you provide through social channels and ultimately your work provide you with the reach and engagement you're seeking as an artist." The reach and engagement you're seeking as an artist. So this whole idea of, get a million Instagram followers or whatever, maybe isn't the most effective way. Maybe it's more crucial that you deeply engage with people. Another great resource on this is the 1000 True Fans article written by Kevin Kelly back in 2008, where he discusses what it really takes to make a living as an artist. And it doesn't take 1 million people, it doesn't take 20,000 people caring about you. It takes 1,000 people that really, really love your work. That's the basic idea. So I'm going to go through 3 current techniques that we use today that are ineffective, and I'm going to talk about why they're ineffective, and then I'm going to talk about 3 ways that podcasting might actually help solve those problems. So the first way that we try to connect with people is through social media. And in my opinion, social media is not the savior that it's put out to be. Social media is great if you need like really short-term engagement or awareness. So marketing as a business on social media, good idea. Interacting with customers on social media, good idea. But when it comes to deep engagement, YouTube videos, the best YouTube videos are like 4 minutes long, or at least the most popular. Maybe that's why not as many people watch this channel. I can't seem to keep it super short. But then Instagram limits you to 1 minute video, and Facebook is just noise. It's pure noise. It's hard to engage with things on Facebook because they go on for, they're just more and more no matter where you go. Social media, probably not the most effective channel to connect with people. The other way that artists, at least musical artists, have tried to engage with fans is through radio. And it can be good to like sit down and have an interview and talk through what you're doing. But the problem with radio is that there's time constraints, there's restraints on what you can and cannot say, what you can and can't do on radio. So there's a bunch of rules around it. And if you ever listen to the radio, which nobody really does, which is another problem, they just kind of go piece by piece quick through the interview. It's just like very mechanical, where, oh, where are you playing? Oh, you're playing this? Oh, you're doing that? Oh, cool. What's new? Okay, interesting. And then like maybe there's 2 minutes of real interesting conversation that's really engaging, but they just, instead of going deep, they just keep hitting you with new subject matter so that you keep listening, so it stays somewhat interesting, even if it's not deeply engaging. And the third way that artists connect with their fans, and this is more or less viable, but depending on your popularity and who you are as an artist, but people try to connect with their fans personally. And I encourage this. I think it's a great idea. And from everything I've seen and read and understood, this is the best way to connect with fans, is personal. So at shows, whatever it is, go stand by your table. If you're artist, like a painter or something, be at your gallery openings, be at all that stuff so that you can engage with the people who are coming to see your work. But if you want to grow beyond just a local, immediate kind of following, you're going to grow into the numbers where you can't engage with all those people, or it's just too numerous, it's too extensive, and you can't develop a relationship with all these people. It's just impossible. The science shows that humans, I think, can only carry on like 150 meaningful relationships, and beyond that, it just becomes noise. I could be wrong on that. That's not a quote or anything, so call me out if I'm wrong. Podcasting. Now I want to talk about 3 ways that podcasting might solve the issues presented by social media. First way, podcasting has no time constraints. It's really interesting. A lot of studies have shown, and I'll pull up some of these. I'll try to get them in the comment section below. But a lot of studies have shown that just proximity to people, just spending time with people, actually grows you closer as a person. So like if there's someone that you love but you don't ever see them, you see them once a month or once a year, you feel distant from that person. Even if you love them and care about them, you feel distant. Whereas if you see someone every day, you see them at school, they're right next to you, or you see them at work or whatever it might be, you start to grow like this camaraderie with that person, whether that's a good positive feeling or whether that's like, oh, I freaking hate them now. Like you get super sick of them. But either way, it's super interesting to note that just time spent engaged with somebody is growing that relationship. You feel closer to them. And so with podcasting, you can go as long as you want, right? There's no technical limitation to how long you can go, and people actually listen to long shows. And the benefit of this is that you can grow close to them in that time. If people are listening to your voice for an hour a day or 2 hours a week or whatever it might be, that's about as much time as they're probably spending with their good friends, and you're engaging them in a more personal way. So there's a lot of beauty in that. There's a lot of benefit in that. And the cool thing is that not only is there no technical time constraint, but people actually listen to long shows. Some of my favorite podcasts are 6 hours long. 6 hours long. If you listen to Hardcore History by Dan Carlin, it's one of the greatest podcasts out there. 6 hours of stories and history, and he takes you through whole eras. And I love it. I'll listen to the first couple hours as I work out, then another half hour on my way home, another half hour on my commute in the next day, and then the other 2 hours on my next workout or whatever it is. But I don't mind that it's long. I don't mind that it goes on for a long time, so long as it's interesting. The second benefit of podcasting is that there's no suits. Nobody's standing there telling you, oh, well, we've done our research, and it turns out when you say this word, people tend to do this, and then when you say that, so maybe we should talk more about this subject matter, and blah, 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 blah. There's none of that. If you feel that something's going to engage your fans, if you feel that something's going to connect with them, if you feel like something's a cool idea or at least an idea worth trying, you can just do it. So if you want to sit down and write a song for 6 hours and record that all on audio of you talking through, oh, I'm going to do this now, okay, I'm writing this. If you want to do that, you can do that. If you want to talk about your views on politics and religion or any of that, you can do that. You're free to do so. And there's nobody telling you that, oh, maybe we should not do this, or we got to cover this thing. These are the most important. And so ignore this and blah, blah, blah. No, you get to decide what you do. And the third benefit of podcasting as opposed to other mediums is that it's super easy to produce, right? Like video, it takes me at least an hour to edit the video for this channel every week. But as far as audio goes, I could edit the audio in no time. It's just a matter of kind of clipping and putting a compressor on there, putting a gate on there, making sure it sounds okay, and then you upload it. It's the easiest thing. So if you have a microphone, an audio interface, or if you know someone who has an audio interface and a microphone, you can make a podcast. No expensive camera, no fancy anything. You can sit down just with a decent mic. There's a $100 mic, and you make a podcast. So those are the ways that podcasting can solve the problems that we might be facing as artists engaging with fans. And I'm just going to offer up a couple ideas of how you might get into this, how it might help you as an artist, as a creative, some different avenues you could take. And like I mentioned earlier, you could write songs. That'd be really interesting. A podcast that people just, and I think people have done it, but you should try it. If you're a songwriter and you have an interesting process or some ideas hitting you, maybe sit down with the microphone, start that thing rolling, start that thing recording, and talk people through how you're thinking about it. If you're a painter, maybe you sit down and discuss the ideas that are inspiring your next piece. Maybe you sit down and discuss the meaning of your work. Maybe you sit down and discuss how politics are influencing you, how this is influencing you, how that's influencing you. Just share about what's pouring into your creative process. I mean, there's numerous. Maybe you could have if you're recording an album, you could have a podcast every day in the studio where you sit down and talk through what you did that day and how it's going and what you felt about it, or tell a story about it. Whatever it is that you think could be interesting, I think it's worth trying. Again, and it's not hard to do. It's not like it's going to take a ton of time and effort. So I hope that I've convinced you as an artist to at least try podcasting, or at least consider it. It might be a great answer for whatever you're trying to do. Again, this is Noah with the Creative Startup. If this is helpful, click subscribe below. See you next week.